issue of Gachagua's impeachment. So Gachagua impeachment hearing ilianza pale Supreme Court. So there was an impeachment. Is it a Supreme Court ama liko wapi? So tell tu there was Gachagua's impeachment. I think it was Supreme Court. And I can see a lot of people trying to read a lot of things into it. Oh, the case, Gachagua is going to be acquitted, his impeachment is going to be revoked, overturned, and all this manner of things. And people are trying to explain a lot of things. But I have decided that I'm going to explain a few things here for you people to understand. I want you to understand one thing. That Gachagua's impeachment cannot be overturned. I want you to understand that clearly. Gachagua's impeachment cannot be overturned. You know, Gachagua's impeachment was a political process. And impeachment of a president or impeachment of a deputy president, impeachment of a governor and the deputy governor are very clear in the constitution. Because these are the only people who can be impeached. It is a political process. And the grounds for impeachment are always there, are being stated in the constitution. And the constitution says, if even one ground, people can come with 10, 20 grounds. And you can be acquitted of all of the 20 grounds, you can be acquitted 19 grounds. Wanaweza sema out of the 19 grounds, out of the 20 grounds, 19 tumekuwa acquit. But one tumekupata you are guilty and wakuimpeach nayo. And why am I saying it's a political process? It's a political process because the people who are going to make the final verdict are politicians. These are people who have personal interest. These are people who vote based on their interest or the master they serve. So it is purely a political process. It is not a process whereby people will really dwell on facts. As long as there is an imagination, there is a creation, there is a perception that you did 1, 2, 3, and they are able to have the level of proof is as low as it is, they can use that to impeach you. So what the court usually does, and when you run to court, what the court can do, the court can only question the process. The court can only question the process. Was the process followed as per the constitution? Not as per the parliament standing orders. The parliament standing orders have no weight in the case, even in the court. The court will not even sit down and consider that. Because standing orders is like how you can come up with rules on how the rules of engagement even in your own house. When you are a group of 20, 30 people living in a 2-bedroom house, you have to come up with some set of rules of how you are going to engage, of who is going to wash the dishes today, who is going to do the mopping today, who is going to do 1, 2, 3 today, who is going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 today, who will buy food, how will we be paying rent, who will be talking when you are supposed to have a meeting, who will talk, who will be the chairman, who will engage. Those are the house rules. So the court cannot interfere, cannot put that into consideration. The court will look at the process and the timeline. So even if you say that the Nini had given, even if the impeachment process according to the constitution had given maybe parliament and senate 10 days to listen to the matter and to conclude the matter, if they decided to do it in 2 days, they are still within the 10 days. The constitution doesn't say that it has to be exactly 10 days. So if parliament impeached Gachagua on the same night, they sent the Nini to the Senate, and the Senate came up with decided to set up a hearing for the impeachment of Gachagua on the same night. That one the court cannot consider. The court will only look at the facts. Was this process done correctly? Yes, you were impeached in parliament, in the National Assembly. Was the process followed of how that case found itself in the national in Senate? Procedure ilifuatwa? Yes. Immediately you were impeached, Kindiki was proposed and he was endorsed. Was the procedure followed? Yes. Whether his approval or his clearance was done in the night, the clearance for EACC, the clearance for all this, whether it was done in the night, it's neither here or there. The Constitution does not give timeline of when government offices should work. The Constitution does not say that all government offices should work between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. The Constitution has no that time. It is not there in the Constitution. So whether the Commission decides to work late in the night, the Commission decides to work 24 hours, the Commission decides to work on Saturday, whether they decide to work on Sunday, that one doesn't count. The court doesn't care. So kusema that, hey, he was cleared in 2 or 3 or 4 hours in the night, it doesn't hold. The process will be, was he cleared? Was his document taken to EACC? Did EACC clear him? Whether they cleared him at 12 in the midnight, they cleared him at 6 a.m. in the morning, that one doesn't count. Because the Constitution does not say that a person can only be cleared this time to this time. The only thing that Constitution is very clear on the time that is on the time when a president should be sworn in. That is the only time where the Constitution is very clear. That a president should be sworn in between, 11 a.m., 10 a.m. in the morning to this time, at daytime, in public, and he should be sworn in by the Chief Justice, and if the Chief Justice is not there, the Deputy Chief Justice. That is the only point where the Constitution is very clear. So the reason I'm telling you that this impeachment of Gachagua, and that's why you see the grounds on which Gachagua has gone to court now, he has not gone so that his impeachment can be overturned. He has not gone so that his impeachment can be overturned. Gachagua has gone to court so that the court can say that his impeachment he was not fairly treated. So that he can get the compensation, and he had laid out the compensation. He wants to be paid, to be given all his dues that he was supposed to be paid for the remaining time that he was the deputy president, and all other things. So, have it from me, the court cannot overturn an impeachment process, because overturning the impeachment will clearly mean that Gachagua still remains the deputy president. So how will that process work? It will only mean that the Supreme Court has overstepped. So what the Supreme Court can do in this situation, in this Gachagua situation, it can use it as a case study for future cases that will come to Supreme Court of impeachment of a president or a deputy president. It can lay some ground rules that in future, if you ever want to impeach a deputy president or a president, these are the procedures that you should follow. Because it is the first time we are seeing a deputy president being impeached. Maybe the next time a president will be impeached. You're getting my point? So, it will be used as a case study. It will be used as a case study to make a ruling and to offer guidance into future cases. So, his impeachment will stand. And Gachagua knows it. And his lawyers knows it. That's why Gachagua decided that he's going to drop this bid to saying that, against challenging his impeachment, he's going now to seek for compensation. To say that he was unfairly treated. He was not given fair hearing. He was not given something neither here or there. Because whether Gachagua fell sick in the process of his hearing and he was rushed to the hospital, that does not stop the process. That doesn't stop the process. It doesn't matter. The court has the law, the way it is, has not been structured to have that human nature of feelings or emotions part of it. Ati sasa you are sick, the court should inafaa kusimama. No. The case ought to have continued, and it continued until he was impeached. So, Gachagua is not going to come as a deputy president. That one forget. I see a lot of people trying to say here and there. They are saying that oh, the Supreme Court should have public consideration. The Supreme Court, there are some things that the court will never have public consideration. There are some cases that the court will have to make ruling based on also putting into consideration public opinion and public views and public things like abortion, things like marriage, things like religion. That one the court. But things when it comes to politics, the court cannot sit down and say that now many people, we can see from many people, they are saying they are not happy with the impeachment of Gachagua, so we are going to make a ruling like this. No. When it comes to political matters, the court doesn't have any side. The court doesn't take public consideration or public opinion into fact. The court looks at the law. What does the law say? What does the law say? That is, was the law followed or not? Simple. Whether you are impeached on a ground that is as small as possible, as long as the Constitution says that you can be impeached on that ground, that is enough. That is enough. So these emotions that you are being taken through, or Gachagua, sijui kesi yake, anaweza rudishwa, anaweza fanya nini, my friend. Ignorance ni kitu mbaya. Because they know, the Supreme Court knows that by revoking Gachagua's impeachment, they will have thrown the country into total confusion. They will have thrown the Constitution in a total disaster, because the Constitution does not foresee. The Constitution does not foresee a situation whereby a Supreme Court overturns an impeachment of a president or a deputy president. The Constitution has no cushion for that. There is no way out of it. So the Constitution is very opaque on that matter. So when you say that is overturned, how do you reverse the process? How do you reverse the process? Because you have to use the Constitution to reverse the process. To make Gachagua the deputy president, how do you reverse the process? And to make situation in Gachagua tricky, Gachagua was impeached and immediately another deputy president was sworn in, which he was sworn in according to the Constitution, because the Constitution has a process for that. So how do you reverse all these things? The Constitution does not foresee where we have two deputy presidents. There's nothing in the Constitution like that. So before you get emotionally psyched up, I'm not a lawyer, but there are some things that they're just common sense. You don't need to be a lawyer to interpret Constitution. The Constitution is there. As long as you are educated, you have critical thinking, you are able to analyze things critically. You don't need a lawyer for that. You just need common sense. And ask yourself, if his ruling is, if his impeachment is overturned, how do we reverse this process? You will realize there is no way of coming out of this process. So, mwache kubebwa na hisia, hizi feelings, mwache feelings, because I realize you people have a lot of feelings. Muna catch feelings haraka, sijui nini, itakuwa aje. Acheni feelings. Base your arguments on facts. Gachagua is not coming back as the deputy president, and that's why he's seeking for compensation, which I don't think is going to be granted. The court is going to make a ruling, and the ruling will be very simple. That despite the fact that there are some injustices, there are some rush process and everything, the process was followed, yes. Gachagua was rightfully impeached, yes. But then the court will go immediately into serving in the future impeachment cases of a president or a deputy president. The Supreme Court will lay some ground rules. Some of the gaps that they saw in that case, so that in future those gaps will be followed. Those gaps will be filled. So that is what it's going to be. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section, and if you think anything, please put your views in the comment section, but above it all, remain respectful. I always insist on that part, because I want us to have a sober engagement. I want us to create a community of people who can soberly engage and discuss issues based on facts and with devoid of emotions and all these other things. And if you want to support this platform, my number is always here. You can support it in any way that you feel, and I will really, really appreciate. Thank you. Until next time. Bye-bye.